Welcome. In this lecture we are going to be sorting out having some progression in our level. So the aim is going to be to try and get through as many as you can, and as you can see in the top left there we've got a little number popping up along with the other logs, which is actually our score. So as I go through you can see my score's gone up to 3 because I'm now in the third testing ground. It doesn't matter how many people I kill, I just kill people for self-defense at this stage. But if they die and I can carry on to the next level, then my score increases. We're not doing UI at this stage, but we will be doing UI in future lectures. And so first we need to get hold of the score and increase the score and maintain the score. That's what we're doing in this lecture. So let's dive in. So an advanced apology / warning, this lecture is going to be quite full of blueprint, but at this stage I really feel quite confident that if you wanted to, you could go ahead and do exactly the same stuff in C++. So do follow me along in blueprint. I'm going to be doing it for the quicker compile times and for the ease of showing you what's going on, but please do take the challenge of doing this in C++ if you're really into that. So let's go ahead and try this out. The idea is going to be to add in a score. I feel like the logical place to add a score is in our game mode. It's kind of the hub of everything, and it's very easy for the tiles to communicate with the game mode in order to give it a score. So that's what I'm going to do. It's very easy for them to get hold of the game mode, so I'm going to go to the blueprints. I'm going to go to my infinite terrain game mode and edit that in blueprint. And I'm going to add in a new variable at the class level. So I'm going to go to the add variable button, and there is where I'm going to add in my score variable. And obviously it's not going to be a boolean. It's going to be an integer for me, because for me what scoring means is the number of testing grounds you've gone through. Now you could choose to do this in a different way if you like, but for simplicity you might choose to go along with what I'm doing. Okay, so we've got our score variable. Next thing is, how do we increase the score? Well, I don't want to just let anybody affect the score. I want to expose some predefined methods that allow this to happen. So I'm going to use a function. I'm going to create a new function. I'm going to call this increase score, or tile conquered, in fact, because that's what it's going to be a result of. In fact, let's call it new tile conquered, like so. And what's it going to do? Very simply, it's going to go through and increment the score. So if I drag in the score from here, do a get on that score, and then I'm going to look for the ++, the increment int. That's the one I want. Fantastic. And just to be sure that we know what's going on at this stage, for debugging purposes, I am going to print out the output. So I'll do a print string, and I will automatically convert that score. And that's about all we have to do there. So I'm going to compile, save that, and then I'm just going to, from the event graph on begin play, I'm going to just make it on a timer. Let's see, task wait delay, just do a, let's see, 2 seconds, and it's going to call our new tile conquered. And let's just save, compile, and check that works. I've got an error. I'm not using the task wait delay properly, it seems. Task owner needs a connection. Let's leave that one out and just search for delay. Here's another one. That delay looks better. I'm going to give it a 2-second delay instead. Compile and save. And let's hit play. Okay, so 2 seconds and the score is 1. So we started off with a score of 0. It incremented it to 1. So I'm fairly happy that that new tile conquered is working as wanted. So I'm going to remove the delay, remove that new tile conquered thingamabob, and save it. And now it's just going to be your challenge to fill in the rest. So here is your challenge. To notify on tile conquered, I want you to notify on entering a new tile. So you can do that with your trigger setup, as we've previously done a few other things. I'd like you to notify no more than once. So basically, I don't want for the player to be able to jump up and down, get out of the collider, and for the tile to be conquered more than once. It should really only ever be 1 point for one conquering. And no need for UI just yet. We'll make do with the logs. In the next lecture, we'll look at using proper heads-up display UI classes and stuff like that. So pause the video and have a go. Okay, welcome back. So let's dive right in. The first step is going to be going over to our tile blueprint, dynamic, terrain, tile, BP tile. Let's open that up. And then let's have a look at where we want to call this from. We want to call it on the event graph when we do a begin overlap of the, let's see, locking volume, not the destroy volume, but the locking volume. And I'm going to create a new function right here saying tile conquered. And I am going to call it from the unlock, after the unlock basically on the component begin play overlap. In fact, let's split that out into a node, a sequence node, just so it's more obvious that the sequence doesn't matter here. And we're going to do a, what was the method I called? Tile conquered. There we go, tile conquered is going to be called. And in tile conquered, we're going to want to get hold of the current game mode. So I'll go and search for the game mode, get game mode. I'm going to want to cast that to the infinite terrain game mode so that I have the function I'm looking for. So I'm going to search for cast to infinite terrain game mode. Now I can't tell which one it is because we're not following the code conventions here. So I'm going to go up a level in dynamic to where we have the infinite terrain game mode, rename it to BP infinite terrain game mode like so. And then we should be able, I do believe that will have broken a link actually, so let's just check that out. In the blueprints, you can see now the game mode, if you go to the first person example map, go to the blueprint, in the game mode, it now says new. It's not clear, it doesn't know which game mode it's pointing to. That's because it's string referenced somewhere inside one of the config files and it didn't properly rename it. So if you click on that and select a game mode base class and go for the BP infinite terrain game mode, then that will have fixed that problem and you won't see any issues when starting off. Okay, so let's dive back into the BP tile. Let's do our cast now to BP infinite terrain game mode, which we can happily cast to. I'm going to put my execution pin through. And now using our casted BP infinite terrain game mode, I am going to call a function. What function am I going to call? Well, funnily enough, it's going to be new tile conquered, which gives the notification of a new conquering of a tile. And if I am not careful, this is going to lead to multiple calls to new tile conquered, and we don't want that. We want just one call to new tile conquered. So I'm going to create a variable, a boolean, saying whether the tile has been conquered or not. It's just going to be is tile conquered. And its default value after I compile so that I can see the default value is going to be false. But after the new tile conquered has been called, we're going to set it to true. So set is tile conquered to true with that node. But one more step, we need to make sure that when we call tile conquered, we do a check for that boolean. So I'm going to pull off from that execution pin right at the beginning and do a branch and check the condition of is tile conquered, and I am going to pull off the execution pin for false rather than the execution pin for true. So I'm going to break the link from true and do it off false. So what we're saying is if the tile is not conquered, then get the game mode, cast it to infinite terrain game mode, and if it is an infinite terrain game mode, notify it that a new tile has been conquered, and set is conquered to true, so that we'll no longer notify of that. Now I'm going to go ahead and hit save, and let's go and play this new game that we've created. Okay, that was a close call with the AI. Oh, that's a bit annoying. Let's go and set a more sensible health value for ourselves. I'm going to go to the player and scroll down to his health, or search for health. I'm going to set his health to 200, and I'm going to make our pawns, or our mannequins, a little bit less healthy. Let's go to the character, behavior, BP character, script, or not script, but the blueprint, and find their health, the default health that they're given. They're currently given 100 as health, so I'm going to give them 20, which should mean that they get knocked out in a couple of punches, and it should be a little bit more fun to play that way. Let's try that out. So I drop myself in the world, slowly bit by bit, there we go. And get shot at, but I've got more life. So I jump through, nope, this isn't quite right. The score hasn't quite updated in the way I had hoped. Okay, this time I got a 5. Let's see if I go through I get... Nope, it's not quite working as intended. So what's going on here? I think what is going on, if we go and have a look at our BP tile and my event graph, you will see that there is this isPlayerActor node, which I am not currently... I'm doing the sequence before that stage. So what I actually want to do is do the sequence after it, because in both cases we want to unlock only if it's the player, and we want to mark the tile as conquered, again, only if it's the player. So if I move that sequence node, I break the link and put the link instead into the isPlayerActor node, then we've got something that resembles and makes more sense. So I'm going to hit save. Let's go and play again. And here we are. I got 2 points now because I got into the second ground. So I kind of start off with 1 point by default, but that's okay. And I move on through. I've got 3 points, and so on and so forth. And I'm going to keep going, but they're going to eventually spot me, shoot me to death, and I will have to start fighting back and being a little bit more tactical than I'm currently being, which isn't very tactical. But eventually I will die. And there you go. And the last score should be on the screen, but the UI for that isn't there yet. So that's what we're going to be doing in the next lecture. Congratulations, we've got some scoring in place. I hope that you took up to the challenge and did it in C++, even though I didn't, and went without the hand holding. So congratulations, and I'll see you in the next lecture.